All right, so November 28th, a couple more updates since yesterday. So I'll go to presentation mode and walk through the updates here. And again, eager for any feedback, comments, collaborators, reach out. So the idea here is creating a presentation that I can present to help folks understand the reason we need to use blockchain, the reason blockchain needs to evolve beyond its current form, and the reason I think the alignment economy is the answer. So the question is, how do we go from here in 1886 to about 100% horses to here, let's say 2025, where approximately 90% of households in the US have a vehicle? And the answer is the first step is someone created a car, right? And there was a couple cars before 1887, but let's say the production of a few actually started. There's 3 units built in 1887 from this company. And if you think about it again, there's a big jump between these two. And some of the things that popped up, right, are people are saying, it doesn't seem very safe or it's loud. And hey, I'm getting rained on and I can't see at night, or I ran out of gas or I got a flat tire, right? And so people made improvements on the product and system and the transportation. And by 1925 with the Model T, approximately 55% of households had a car, right? And there started becoming a tipping point where were becoming less and less common, cars becoming more and more common. And if you think about what really causes this, right, it comes down to when people really think about transportation, there's an evolution of transportation and how it goes. Like I want to think about the speed, the comfort, the range, the capacity of my transportation. And horses are just no match anymore compared to cars. It became at some point between, let's say, 1887 and 1925, or especially 2025, it became very clear of like, why the heck would you want to ride a horse? Like, take a car, right? And so I want to argue or discuss kind of the same thing, where in 2007, we were essentially 100% fiat, and we're trying to move towards, hopefully, before the end of the century, let's say 90% of households, not just like holding, but actually using blockchain-based currencies in their daily transactions. And how do we make this happen? And so if you think about how things have been going so far, right? Blockchain was invented in 2009 with Bitcoin, but excuse me, still have a cough. But it hasn't been going that well in terms of some of the problems that have been popping up, right? So folks say, hey, I spent $1 million on pizza, or hey, I'm too late, or stable coins are great because the price is stable, but they still have inflation technically, right? Or this was a rug pull. There's really been limited improvements, right? Ethereum was the first ones. There's a lot of crazy meme coins out there where people are trying to be the first person to take advantage of the system, and this is what's preventing a large percentage of people from actually wanting to use blockchain right now. So again, think about the evolution of money. There's kind of people talk about, okay, it needs to be scarce, portable, fungible, divisible, durable, and acceptable. I would really call these are table stakes. And if you think about what really distinguishes these two sides of the equation right now is probably two main challenges. One is there's a lot of first mover advantage in current blockchain based technology for coins. And also there's pretty high inflation or high deflation on a lot of these. So like the price of Bitcoin is extreme deflation. Hence, no one actually wants to spend it because they're afraid that they're going to, the opportunity cost in the future will be not worth it. And the people that got into Bitcoin and actually held on from, the early years, they're doing much better than someone who's going to join 10 years from now. They're going to be a little disgruntled of why the heck did I do this? And so no one's going to even question their fiat either, right? Most people don't even care. They're not really feeling the pain of inflation. Yes, there's inflation, but it's not that bad, right? And people are unable to currently kind of clearly see how central banks cause most of the world's problems. You can really make that case. So we'll talk more about that here in a minute. But again, my argument is that if we want to make this happen, we got to move towards something with the alignment economy that can solve, let's say, these two main problems with their sub problems of first mover advantage, deflation, helping people understand the pain of fiat inflation, as well as how really centralized banking has caused a lot of problems in the world. So one of the ways I've thought through this is kind of like a buyer's journey, right? And if you think about the horse to car, right? The old transportation system is broken. Like you have to be able to say that and then be able to say, I see there's a new transportation system. The new transportation system is good enough for me to use, right? And so think about in 1890, there's a lot of people over here. By 2025, most people are over here, right? So getting people to shift on that thing is kind of the same thing when we think through the old monetary system is broken. I see there's a new system. The new system is good enough for me to use. And so I would say there's an extremely small percent of people over here that are actually using the current system, like less than 1% of the global population. There's maybe, most people at this point have heard of Bitcoin. but very few are agreeing about this, that the current monetary system is broken. Most are still stuck over here. And so we need to help them get across this bridge towards here. And part of that is telling them a better story, as well as having a better product, right? So these two things here, right? We don't have a good enough product for them. There's no Toyota Camry of blockchain yet that people are using. I believe the alignment economy can be an answer for that. And we're not telling them the right story to help get them down the funnel. So I had that yesterday. What I've gone through now is made a few wire sketches on these bottom slides. So again, if I'm talking with a group of folks who don't quite see that the monetary system is broken, these are some slides I could use. So again, think about let's say manufacturing jobs, blue collar jobs, right? A lot of these started being overseas, outsourced. Let's say, excuse me, 1970s, definitely 1980s. By the 1990s, this was pretty much ubiquitous, right? Like, why would you build something in America? You can get, if you're a business owner, you can get the same, essentially same quality product for half the production cost or even lower. So therefore, your profit margin can be maintained, or you can reduce costs to your end consumers, right? Be more competitive in the marketplace. And this is happening, well, essentially are even happening now. Like places are leaving China because China's too expensive, right? They're going to Indonesia, or they're going to Vietnam because they're looking for that lower cost labor that can provide the same or similar quality. And it's going to get worse, right? So we're starting to see bits and pieces of this now, right? Where with the advent of, let's say, Zoom and Teams and telecommunications, like folks in India or Asia are fluent in English and they can be on clock and work when you're not working. So you're seeing more and more companies outsourcing. Think about like accounting firms, like they have quotas where they have to have a certain percentage of their hours for audit and tax work that's done overseas because it saves some profit margin. And you're kind of seeing the same thing too is going to happen with, let's say, even maybe the blue collar manufacturing jobs are over, but let's say the fulfillment orders of Amazon or something like that, where you still need a human here in the US to do it. Robots are going to take this over, right? So with the advent of better internet technology. We're not even talking about AI here, right? That can continue to take on more and more back office functions. And so the economy is shifting pretty dramatically. And how are we going to make sure that we're able to keep ourselves afloat? Excuse me. So again, a little less clear here. Let me pull some of these over. And what I'm trying to shift to on this next part is just kind of show how a lot of this comes from money. And so if you think about it, like our smartest minds, people who are graduating from our best universities, our best programs. Like there's a person I knew who's she worked with me at a startup. Her husband was doing a PhD in math at MIT. He went to go work for a high frequency trading firm right after school. Like, is that really the best use case of that guy's talent, right? To shave a few fractions of a second off of a trade so that people can make money. Like these firms don't lose money. They make tons of money. But are they adding value to the economy? No, not at all. Right. Or we're trying to increase time on site. Like, is that really the goal? We don't necessarily want you doom scrolling for hours and hours. And this has even evolved too, right? Where they notice that people feel bad when they doom scroll for hours and hours. So they'd rather have you come on every single day for 15 minutes as opposed to one day for 5 hours kind of thing. Like keep you coming in back and back. And really, we should be shifting our minds to solving real valuable things, right? Like there's a loneliness epidemic. There's drug problems. Like many people don't have a meaning of life. We need to have better education, better parenting. Let's go explore the universe, right? Like there's so many other things we could be spending our attention on as opposed to attention on a lot of smaller things. And there's on this next one, yeah, there's a good video I'm going to link to of this guy who's kind of broken down how a lot of our problems are really tying back to money and what this is causing. And so I think part of this is maybe there's a bit of a shift, right? So during the Occupy Wall Street, people started noticing a lot of this. And there's kind of the joke that, okay, if you think about woke, like that didn't really exist in 2008, but it sure took off afterward, right? And there was the media and big business really shifting people's attention towards things that just aren't true. And it's created a lot of problems in the long run. But they were originally right on focusing on, okay, big business, inflation, bailouts. Like Ray Dalio's got some good videos about how the economy works. And basically, money is causing a lot of these problems. There's the meme back here where we just print money, right? Like this is what's causing a lot of this. So I need to improve this section a little bit, but I think I've got an okay start. Need to figure out how to wrap it up at the end. The next one is moving into okay, Bitcoin showed an alternative, right? And again, I don't think this is a very well built out section, but I want to figure out a way to show exactly like what is blockchain, how does it work? But I need to build out if anyone has ideas of like how do you make it more clear uh, why people care about this. Like I think some people will show, okay, fine, yeah, I agree. It's kind of messed up with the way our current system is, but like how is blockchain actually solving that? Need to make that a little bit more clear. And then obviously address some of the things where like, common questions that folks have, like, okay, is this a Ponzi scheme? Like, what if I lose all my money? Like, seems pretty complex. Like, decentralization. What if I forget my keys? So being able to kind of talk through that a little bit. And then this part of the presentation will be much more focused on, let's say, people that are already in blockchain space, but aren't struggling to see why we need to keep shifting and move towards an alignment economy. So basically, the root is that no one uses blockchain to buy anything because they're all waiting to hope the price goes up relative to dollars and then sell at dollars. And so I think there's two main reasons I've talked about why I believe blockchain currently isn't working. So one is the first mover advantage, and that people were involved in Bitcoin in 2012 are much happier, assuming they held on, than people that are going to get involved in 2030, right? So that fair isn't always the right word, but the point is that like, why would I in 2030 want to start using Bitcoin if I'm too late, right? The other one is around deflation or some cases inflation, right? If you're spending millions of dollars on pizza, insight, right? We all have, or those of us that have been in the space for a while, we all have examples of this where we spent Bitcoin on something that we're like, probably should hold on to that, right? But that's going to prevent people from actually wanting to spend. The velocity of money goes down much lower than it should be. So this also really comes down to stories and being able to tell that story right. Like we talked about earlier, we need a better product, we need a better story. So part of this is the story isn't working. We're not bringing on the first 18% of users. Like we only have like 1, maybe 2% of the world using this right now. They're not even using it. They're just buying it and holding it. They're not using it to buy things. So being able to fix that. And then after this, talking about the alignment economy, which I have in other videos. I haven't built out the slides yet, but I'll add more in eventually. Essentially, I think I've got on paper here at least, and need some help actually coding like a currency that's actually going to have very little inflation, deflation, very little first mover advantage. It could be a peer-to-peer cash that people actually use. So thank you for taking time, and more to come. Please reach out.